Welcome into Boxing Scene Today here at the ProBox TV studios. Well, it was a huge story, the return of Manny Pacquiao versus Mario Barrios last Saturday. All he had to do was win. All Mario Barrios had to do was beat up, in boxing terms, let's face it, an old man, and neither one happened. We got a draw that no one is satisfied with that has created a ton of controversy. Don't worry, to help you sift through it, Jimmy Smith alongside the champs, Chris Algieri, Paulie Malignaggi. Chris, as a man who has fought Manny Pacquiao, was history robbed by this decision? Because we've seen bad decisions. We've seen them before. They don't cost somebody the way it cost Manny Pacquiao. That would have been historic, and we get a draw instead. What's your opinion?
Everyone's screaming robbery, and I understand. I mean, the nostalgia of watching Manny Pacquiao go out there and do what he did. I mean, he was absolutely incredible for his age. In terms of, was he incredible for Manny Pacquiao? No, because Manny from 10 years ago, I think, would ice Barrios in one round. But this version of Manny Pacquiao, which it was so amazing to watch. I mean, what a legend. For him to be able to do what he did at this advanced age, come back from a 4-year hiatus, hasn't fought in 4 years, step right into a 12-round.
Off a loss, by the way. Or
and look that damn good. And listen, I know you're gonna be like, oh, he didn't, he looked okay. Barrios didn't look good at all. Doesn't matter. Against Ugas, he didn't look good. Pacquiao looked bad in the Ugas fight. He looked good in this fight. So I don't know. I'm over the moon for Manny Pacquiao. His ability to do what he did at this stage of his career, the fact that he always comes back, he's always looking for the biggest challenges. I mean, listen, the guy, I can heap undue. There's not enough undue praise or enough praise I can put on this guy that would be unfair. He's absolutely incredible to still be able to do this. He still moves the needle. I was there. I was in the room. I think they said it was 13,000 in there, something like that. When they said the press release, it was packed. People were going nuts all week long. It felt like a real fight week. Manny Pacquiao's back. Manny Pacquiao can still fight. Manny Pacquiao's still dangerous. Now, in terms of, was it the worst robbery in the world? No, not at all. I think the draw is actually not the worst thing that could have happened because it was a very close fight, and there's a lot of weird rounds in there. Manny did a really good job of old manning it, trying to steal rounds at the end of the round. Barrios has no swagger and no charisma to sell anything that he was doing. You had to really pay attention to watch all those jabs he landed. He outjabbed Pacquiao, I think, more than double, which looked pretty obvious to me. Manny landed more power shots, especially the eye-catching punches. He's also got that flair to him where he really sells his landed shots. So a lot of ways to skin this. Super close fight. I still think Manny should have got it, but here we are. But people were screaming, outright robbery, Manny won 10 rounds. All right, you're letting nostalgia and your love for Manny cloud your vision. Still a close fight. I wouldn't mind seeing it again. I think Manny deserves some big opportunities here, and a Barrios rematch makes a lot of sense.
Emmanuel Stewart called them comparison rounds. A guy looks better in a round, so you give him the round. He doesn't mean he won the round. He just looks better than he should have. Paulie, how much of that influences people when it comes to judging this fight? That Manny looked better than all of us thought he would look.
To a degree. That I think that comes into play. But here's my version of it, and a lot of what the champs just spoke about, I do agree. Even some of the negativity. For example, I think that it's not the same Pacquiao, but I think the effort of Pacquiao, he showed he wanted it more than Mario Barrios, and to me, dude, that's unforgivable. When you're 29, 30 years old, you're letting the old man want it more than you and out hustle you. So. Yeah, the rounds were a lot of close rounds. And yes, sometimes the nostalgia wants to get the better of us. I thought the fight sucked, and I would have probably turned it off if it wasn't for Manny having me on the edge of my seat that, wow, this guy might make history here tonight. That was the dramatic effect of the fight, because Manny was in the fight. I thought he was maybe stealing some of the rounds, and I thought he was boxing well for his age. It's not the same Manny in that I don't think Manny fought a great fight, but I thought he fought an intelligent fight in that he knew how to steal the moments. His rhythm, you could see his legs aren't the same. He's not able to get that power planting shot there. He's kind of closing the gap, and he's kind of a little bit off balance as he's throwing some of these shots, but they're putting Mario out of position, so it looks good. It's eye-catching, like the champ was just saying, to put the round in his favor. So with intelligence and with a smart effort, I thought he was fighting well, and he had me on the edge of my seat. But as I'm watching the fight, I'm like, this fight's not that good. Mario Barrios sucks. I've been saying it for months, and he basically proved me right. He sucks. But that wasn't really the story of the night. The story of the night was, does Manny deserve the decision? Because after all this, you have history here. You have a historic moment, regardless if it's not the best Manny. Even Manny not at his best. And even, yes, this subpar champion, who I think might be the worst champion I've ever seen in my life, it's still a historical moment. And so as you're watching it, it's got you on the edge of your seat. And I got to say, after all this, a 46-year-old to come back and get a license, especially in a place like Vegas, you got to go through a battery of medical tests. Nobody wants to get sued. You got to go through a battery of medical tests
these days.
You've got to go through more testing. You've got to go through, a training camp off the couch as Manny hasn't fought in years. You've got to go through. You make all these hoops to jump through to make this fight and to make this moment upon us. And then in a fight like that, you don't give it to him? Like that's why I'm saying, okay, you may not think it's a robbery. I think Manny won the fight. Okay, you don't say, okay, it's close. Maybe it's not a crazy robbery. You know why it's a robbery? Because after you did all this, what do you get out of letting Mario Barrios keep the title? The guy sucks. He can't fight. Like he didn't want it. He didn't fight. He's touching gloves every round. Bob Santos couldn't yell at him anymore. Like Bob Santos was trying everything he could to get this guy motivated. Yo, when the guy sucks, he sucks. There's nothing you can do about it. You know what I mean? Like he actually told him, dude, stop touching gloves and go win the fight. What does he do? He comes out and he touches gloves again. Like, bro, Aztec Warrior my ass, bro. Don't ever use that term again. That is an embarrassment. That was an embarrassing performance from him. Like constantly touching gloves, constantly being friendly. Bro, I get you can be mesmerized by the presence of a guy in front of you who's a great and you grew up watching. I get that you can get that. Maybe in round 1, bro. Not for 12 straight rounds. Now, and already, especially...
Well, 11. He fought really good as well.
Especially when you weren't that good to begin with. At least if you're good to begin with, and you give the excuse like, well, yeah, I was mesmerized, And it's like, wow, you usually fight better. No, he usually sucks, and he sucked on Saturday night. Like, it's wild to me. It's wild that I'm hearing that his team gets mad at me. What do you want me to tell you, bro? Go prove me right. Go prove me wrong. The guy sucks. You know what I mean? Like, he's 5'10", he's throwing the same jab when he is jabbing, because a lot of times he's not even jabbing. When he is jabbing, you're 5'10", 5'11", 5'6 feet, the same jab constantly. That's it. And he was effective when he was using it. But, dude, you don't have a varied jab. You're 6 feet tall. You don't have a varied jab. You're still on your front foot. You're still on your front foot that I've been criticizing that forever. You're still on your front foot. Yeah. Not active. Not recognizing how Manny's figuring out how to steal rounds and take the moment from you, because you also got to know how to win a fight. There's an art to knowing how to win a fight, especially when it's close. Recognizes none of it because he's so busy touching gloves and just being happy to be there. That's why Manny deserved the win. Manny wanted it more. He was more cerebral in there to try to figure out how to win it more. And honestly, bro, Mario was just happy to be there in with him. And like I said, on top of not being that good to begin with, he's also just there to be happy to be there. And you know what? Okay, they make a rematch. He gets another payday. God bless him, and he's probably a nice kid. I don't have anything personal against him. I just want to see good moments, good boxing. If people pay, I want to see them get their money's worth. And honestly, let me tell you my opinion of why Manny didn't get that decision. The Filipinos stormed Vegas, moved the odds tremendously. MGM Grant would have probably went out of business if Manny gets that decision. All right, so the odds, if you look at the odds, the way they came down dramatically, fight week, that's the Filipino crowd and the Manny Pacquiao crowd moving the odds.
Vegas loves draws.
Yes.
Well, bro, especially when the odds move that fast on fight week. The odds moved a lot on fight week.
Yeah, they did.
So Vegas was probably licking their chops like, this is people betting with their heart. We're going to take all their money. And then all of a sudden you're like, nope, they're going to take all our money. Make the call. We need a draw here. Make the call. Somebody had to make that call.
Conspiracy Paulie just showed up to the chat.
That's what Conspiracy Paulie's all about.
Guys, you know me with my Manny Pacquiao opinions. I'm not always the biggest fan of Manny Pacquiao, but what's right is right.
Yeah,
I've
been surprised with your backing Manny Pacquiao and saying he got robbed the round. I'm like, wow, okay.
Because the whole point of me watching the full 12 rounds was
Manny Pacquiao.
I'm gonna watch this. I'm gonna watch this guy make history tonight. Because the fight sucked. But you know what? We get into 8, we get into 9. I'm like, you know what? I'm about to watch history here. Yeah. I'm not turning this off.
Yep.
I'm gonna watch this fight. Because you know why? That's the only thing that kept me watching the fight. Bro, last month, I watched 4 rounds of Deontay Wilder. I shut it off. I'm like, this guy sucks. I don't want to watch this guy.
Also,
especially after just watching Jake Paul and Chavez. I wanted to watch Wilder too. No, after 4 rounds, I shut it off. I was on the verge of doing that the other night. But instead, I said, nah, bro, I'm watching. History's going to be made tonight. I'm going to watch this.
But I'll tell you right now. Listen, I was there.
Vegas to me.
I was there all week.
No, I didn't bet Manny Pacquiao. Don't think that I'm saying this because I bet Manny Pacquiao. I did not bet Manny Pacquiao, guys.
I was there all week. Manny Pacquiao still moves the needle. The guy is a force. He is a global superstar. And I've said this before. Some of the I've said this is going to piss some people off. The most recognizable people in the world are probably Muhammad Ali, full-time, athlete.
He passed away.
You're right, but again,
Michael Jordan.
He's not alive, but yeah, like guys like that, athletes. Michael Jordan, obviously, like you see, he's got an icon where it's him. It's him. Like he's one of Mike Tyson, Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao is one of the most recognizable people around the world. He moves the needle. He is that guy, and he still is. I mean, seeing him in Vegas, the crowds, the people that were coming, and it's not just Filipinos. Yes, the Filipinos come strong. They come from San Francisco. They come from LA. They come to see Manny. They're in Vegas anyway. No, it's all types of people. The amount of fans that I was seeing that were running up to me they want pictures with me because I've been involved with Manny Pacquiao. That's how big he is. He's such a global star. But man, for what he did from a physiological standpoint, from me being a sports scientist to being an athlete to being a fighter to being a retired fighter, what he was able to do at this level, to go 12, I didn't think he was going to be able to go 12 at all. Granted, 12, he fell apart. 12 round, he had a really bad round. He was really, really tired.
Again, Barrios also allowed it to be comfortable.
So that's exactly what my point is now. So there's a couple moments in the fight where Barrios had an opportunity to not only dominate, but close the door on a Manny Pacquiao comeback. It was round 3. I remember I'm sitting next to Lance Pugmire. He's one of our great contributors and writers, one of the best writers in the game today, and I think he's head writer at BoxingScene Today. And it was round 1, round 2. Manny looked good. He came out fast. And I said, I was like, Manny's his best opportunity is going to be early. Round 3 comes, and you started to see Barrios get that jab going. I've never seen Manny get hit with so many jabs, where he literally like head getting popped back. Normally, Manny's really hard to hit, even with jabs, as a good jabber who fought him. Best jabbers that he fought, Oscar De La Hoya, obviously he was underwater at that point. Me, Floyd Mayweather, very difficult to land a series of jabs on him. And Barrios was able to get that going, where he landed 1, 2, 3 times in a row sometimes.
So, and that's usually will trigger you to follow up more.
Yes, zero right hand followed up. But Manny Pacquiao in round 3, and I remember going to Lance at the round 3, and I'm like, this is when the old man starts to show up. And then Barrios didn't follow up, just like you said, champ. Round 4 comes on, Manny comes right back. Because Manny's will, his desire, he could have very easily packed in right there. Like, this young kid's too much.
That's what I mean. He wanted it more.
He wanted it more. And
that's why you don't rob the guy. That's why you don't rob him.
And he was getting hit with shots he hasn't been hit with in a long time. But then Manny comes out in round 4 and reestablishes himself and then starts winning rounds again. I think in the first 5 rounds, it was like 4-1 Manny. And you're like, what the hell is going on? Like, where is this kid? We're like, you know what? Then I say to Lance, and I go, you know what? I think Barrios is taking his time. He's starting to pick it up. I think he's going to wait till round 6. He knows he's dangerous early on. That's his only chance to win. Mario's going to pick it up in round 6. Round 7, nothing. 8, same kind of stuff. And I was just like, oh my, this guy just has no urgency. There was nothing. There was no stepping on the gas pedal. And he had a bunch of good rounds. Most of the rounds were actually good for Barrios. And then Manny would steal it at the end. Manny would do some flourish thing. And I'll tell you this. Every time Manny made any kind of move that was any aggression whatsoever, because he only fought about 50 to 60 seconds around. Tell you, so he really did old man it. But when he did it, it was like the crowd went absolutely bonkers. He landed a big hard shot, usually right on the chin. I mean, his accuracy that night was fantastic with his power shots. There's pictures of him landing straight left hands that are literally hitting Mario, putting his chin into his chest. Manny still got it in terms of that, but everything he did offensively, the crowd went absolutely crazy. And I think he stole a lot of the rounds at the end of rounds. He's very smart. He Sugar Ray Leonard it against Marvin Hagler, and he did it really well. And then Mario Barrios showed up in round 12, and Manny was tired, and that was the best round that he had all night long. And there was a lot of opportunities prior to that. He hurt Manny to the body really bad in round, I think it was 9. That's
where Mario can be sneaky.
He had Manny several guys that really hurt to the body.
Who've been hurt to the body. He should impose that a little bit more.
So I was speaking to Bob Santos, who's a friend of the show and a friend of Pro Box TV, and I was speaking to him a lot all week, actually. And he said he had hurt Keith Thurman to the body. Keith admitted it on the broadcast. Yes. And Bob said, like, it's not necessarily that he doesn't recognize it, but he doesn't know when it's that time to really step on the gas, and they've been working on that. He had the same opportunity against Manny Pacquiao just that night. He hurt him to the body. I don't know if he didn't see it. Yeah, I don't know if he didn't step on it. I don't know what it was.
That's not the only time you're supposed to step it up. Just because you don't hurt a guy doesn't mean you don't try to win the fight. Like, try to win the fight every round, whether you hurt the guy or not.
But these are the moments that I think could have changed the fight. That's what I'm talking about. It was round 3 for Mario Barrios. Round 3 was a big opportunity for him to close the door on Manny's comeback. Round 9, when you hurt him, was the opportunity to really put the nail in the coffin. And then round 12, you left too much time, and you went for it, but you didn't go for it all the way. And it was too much half-ass in and out.
There's a lot of fights where guys don't hurt each other enough to get each other out of there. But in those kind of fights, especially, somebody has to grab the bull by the horns and control it. Mario never went for that. It was all respect. It was all nice. It was all touching gloves. Like, at what point you're a world champion. You are the WBC welterweight champion of the world. At what point do you say, Let me grab the bull by the horns right now and take control of this fight.
Round 3, round 9, and round 12. Like I said, those are the points. And
he didn't do it. But again, even if you don't hurt a guy, you can still dictate consistently with the jab. You dictate the pace. We're dancing my dance tonight, not your dance. However you want to fight, we're going to dance the way I say we're going to fight. Even if you don't get hurt, nobody gets hurt. You know what? Punches don't tickle, and I'm going to take charge of the fight. Never made that decision. As a matter of fact, Manny, again, wanted it more. He was trying to make certain decisions. He just couldn't consistently make them when he's 46. But, he was making the decision, I'm going to go win this fight. I have a mindset to win this fight. I have a method that I'm going to impose to win this fight, and I'm going to go do it. When you look back, you can see how Manny wanted to win the fight, right?
Yes.
Steal rounds,
Hungry
put punches together,
Yep.
Stay hungry.
On fumes in round 12, still keeping it together.
Because usually, again, I've said this before about certain other people, but can you tell what the hell Mario was doing? Like what? I can't tell. What was your ticket to victory? Like before round 1, like we're gonna do this tonight. What in the world were you thinking was gonna win you the fight? Just stand there, squared, and throw a jab every fucking freaking. Do I say freaking? Or
Yeah, whatever.
every minute. You know what I mean? Like what am I doing, bro? It's so frustrating because I've recently criticized George Kambosos a lot, right, for not winning big fights. But at least George goes for it every single time.
He tries hard.
He'll always try every single time. Yeah. So no matter what, you know what? He's gonna earn his money.
George also doesn't fight afraid. George is willing.
He's actually fearless.
Yes, he's willing.
I don't know but I don't even know if Mario's got fear or if he just sucks. You know what I mean? Like I'm wondering, like, is this guy? I can't figure out because you're there. You got to this stage. You can't be scared.
All right,
scared.
listen. But as frustrated as Paulie is, guys in the truck, go to the wide shot. You know who's probably even more frustrated? Go to the team shot. That guy right behind you. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine how he felt watching that fight? Yeah. Talk about going for broke every time you fight Manny Pacquiao. Yeah. That last fight, Manny hurt Raul bad. Had his nose in a mess, and Manny went for it. Went for broke, and Raul caught him. And put him away. And timed him right, hit him with the right hand, and ended the feud. But that guy went for it every single time.
Marquez never.
He spent 40+ rounds with that man. Manny Pacquiao's a nightmare to be in the ring with.
Yeah, especially at that time.
He spent that many rounds with him. He went for it the entire time. He must have been watching this fight, being like, "What is this kid doing?" Because there was never a point where he really went for it.
Well, objectively, a question I want to ask: how much does it hurt Barrios' stock? Because the story was Manny, first off. He said the guy can't sell. The Barrios wasn't the name in this. And then, if you're not going to be the name, let's go out there and win. When it came to Holmes versus Ali, which, of course, I remember when I was a little kid, the idea that Holmes went out there and beat the piss out of Ali. Like, I'm not the name, but I'm going to go out there and win. Barrios,
Larry was mean.
Larry was mean and an underrated heavyweight.
Larry's really mean.
But that's what I mean. He was never the name, but it made him a mean son of a bitch.
Yeah.
This idea that Barrios doesn't have the selling ability, the glove touching, all this stuff. What's his future right now?
I mean,
did he lose stock in this fight?
I had a chance to interview Mario this week. Got to meet him for the first time, which is why I was like so amazed how big he is. But super nice kid. He was with his daughter. He hadn't seen him for a long time because of his training camp. He didn't spend that much time with him.
Nobody's doubting that. Nobody.
I know, but I'm just putting it out there because he's a really really nice guy. And Bob Santos kind of said that, like, sometimes he's really mean. He's looking at her. He wants to do it, and sometimes it's kind of leaves a lot to the fighting mind. In terms of his stock and where he's at, he is where he is. He's the low-hanging fruit in the division. And he's the guy. And this is why when they announced this fight and that he was going right to Barrios, first of all, I was like, well, it makes sense. You're gonna go for a guy that stylistically matches up really well and is probably the weakest in the division, for you to fight at that time. And it pissed me off because I'm like, there's guys waiting to fight this guy. This is the guy that people want to fight because they want to be a world champion. But it's Manny. Manny skipped the line. And more, in hindsight, even more than anything, there's a reason that this guy was chosen to be this guy. But now, I mean, he's still that guy. He's still the guy that everybody's want to fight. He's still the guy that I think still can get the Manny Pacquiao rematch. The kid's making a ton of money. He's made a ton of money, and that's great. But in terms of his legacy, it's he's going to be a world champion in a weak division.
We live in an era where actually, if you're too good, it punishes you.
Yeah.
If you suck just enough, where you have just enough accolades, but you suck just enough, you actually get more opportunities. Just look at Canelo, who he's fighting lately. You know what I mean? I mean, granted, Crawford is good only because he's small. That's why he's fighting Crawford, because he wouldn't be fighting Crawford either. Let me get that straight. But what I'm saying is, you're seeing the reward.
Well, he didn't want to fight Crawford in the first place. It was forced down his throat.
You're seeing the reward of mediocrity, though. So and super talent, superstar ability, and championship level is being punished by being avoided. So actually, Mario Barrios, considering the point in time we are in boxing, is actually in a great position because he sucks, but he has a world championship. So you got guys that bring a lot of money that will point to him. Manny Pacquiao just pointed to him. If I'm Floyd Mayweather and I watch that fight, I say, bro, I can beat that guy. Mayweather may come back and say, let me go beat that guy.
Champ.
You know? And then, because I guarantee, right now, if Mayweather comes back and fights him, my money's on Floyd. Easy. Right now, I add Floyd's age. Easy. Conor Benn, who I don't even think is that good, could also, but generates a ton of money, also could point to Mario Barrios. And guys, let me be honest, even if I don't think Conor Benn is that good, he's way ballsier than Mario Barrios. And that alone probably beats Mario Barrios because Conor can punch a little bit as well. So Barrios is in a great position financially, even in the welterweight picture, because it's not a deep welterweight division and he's a low-hanging fruit. We're in a time where mediocrity is rewarded at a high level. And so...
Well, not just in boxing. That's
yeah, but with boxing discussion right now, so Mario is actually in a great position. He's in a better position than really good fighters like freaking David Benavidez and things like that who can't get anybody to fight him. You know what I mean? So honestly, you talk about what Mario Barrios is, honestly, your best bet is to be there, but have a lot of flaws. And usually that is always the case, but right now he's got enough flaws for everybody to
Well, I think, I hate saying this. I got one more story that I'll tell you in a moment. But I hate saying this, but I think the draw was probably good for everybody because Mario Barrios.
Manny.
No, it's not bad for Manny because
making history.
Listen, but he's got a chance to fight him again. And are you taking Manny in the rematch?
I mean, he's older and older. I mean, again, it's the same thing with
he's older and older.
You could show.
I was saying this whole week about Manny. I said Manny. I'm like, people are asking me like, guys, isn't he too old? I'm like, it's not as much of the age that gives me the problem. It's the 4 years off. He's got a full camp under him now, and it was a short camp. So now he gets another camp with a guy he's comfortable with now that he can fight. He's going to fight again. I think most people would have Manny as the favorite in the rematch based on what happened in the first fight and the fact.
I still think it's tough.
It's still a tough fight. Listen, Manny fighting any of these guys is going to be tough. 12 rounds for a 46-year-old is going to be tough no matter what.
He's actually 47 in December. So,
46, exactly. Well, so
tough.
that happens before then or not. But to your point about Floyd Mayweather watching that fight and being like, I can beat this guy. So I spoke to Manny Pacquiao, last week, during fight week, and I'm talking to him, and I actually broke the story. No one knew this. The story was that Manny watched Barrios versus Abel Ramos on the undercard of Mike Tyson, Jake Paul, and that he goes, I can beat that guy, and he asked his wife Jinky if he could fight, and she said, yes, against that guy you can win, and she said, yeah. Actually, went the other way around. They were watching the fight, and Jinky watched him against Abel Ramos and said, you can beat this guy.
Yeah.
And Manny goes, I can beat this. You think I can beat this guy? And she goes, yep. And he goes, I can fight? And she goes, yes. He made a phone call right there. And Barrio confirmed this later on. In the locker room after the fight with Abel Ramos, he knew he was fighting Manny Pacquiao. Exactly. That's how fast Manny Pacquiao can move the needle.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Mediocrity rewarded. Mario Barrios sucked in that fight against Abel Ramos.
That was a rough
Absolutely sucked in that fight. And he gets the Pacquiao fight.
Well, we don't have mediocrity here. We're here for greatness. That's what we get from the champs. And Jimmy Smith, by the way, thrilled to be back in South Africa. Great to be here again with you guys. Boxing Scene Today. As it makes news, you'll see it right here. Find out why millions are watching.
Jimmy's back, guys. Don't complain.